is a spiritual bypass?
Great question. What is spiritual bypass or a spiritual bypass? Spiritual bypassing is when you or an individual goes past or bypasses your spiritual growth by pretending that you're already evolved or enlightened or happy and there's nothing to work on inside of you, that everything is already peachy good. It's very commonly used in the personal development or the spiritual community amongst people who are trying to describe their friends who always act like everything's fine when in fact everything is not fine. Now you have to understand, you yourself or someone else who uses spiritual bypass is not a bad person or making a mistake. You're just doing things the old-fashioned way. You see, until you have a way to get rid of your emotional, mental, and spiritual pain and programming and repeating patterns permanently, what else can you do but put it aside and be happy anyway? That's basically what personal development has been teaching the world for the last many decades, because they don't generally have a better strategy or method. And so if your friend says, I'm happy, but in reality you know that they're not, that's their best way of surviving. It's probably better for them to think positive than it is for them to go and shoot up a bunch of heroin. Obviously, I'm exaggerating a little bit. Most of your friends who are trying to stuff their negative emotions and thoughts aren't going to resort to heroin, crystal meth, smoking cocaine, or anything that bad. They're going to go to their medical doctor and get the legal ones. I'm only kidding, partially, because that is what happens, isn't it? Of course, most people go to something a little bit easier to get without a prescription, like alcohol or carbs and sugar and cigarettes and those things that numb you out. So it's better to think positive than to do that. And even doing that isn't wrong. There's no judgment. But there is a better way, which is to actually go inside and erase permanently the negative repeating thoughts, the old emotions stuck in the cells of your body, and the repeating negative intentions from the past, causing you to create and recreate unconsciously and automatically things you don't want to create. And so when people are doing spiritual bypass, they're pretending things are fine, but they continue to replay the same patterns of being broke, of being lonely, of dating people who aren't very good to them, of being unhealthy, and so on and so forth, and they just keep pretending it's all good. Now, the problem is, someone like me will come along, or one of my amazing students who's a certified practitioner, and try to help one of these people achieve a goal, and they'll say, oh, but I don't need any help achieving my goals because I don't have anything to work on because I'm always happy all the time. And then they're stuck. They're stuck where they're at. Now, let me give you one caveat. It is true that sometimes you can manifest something that you want in spite of your unconscious limitations, blockages, programs, resistance, whatever you want to call it. But you can't generate a dream life that way, because you'll be forever constantly trying to overcome the programming by being positive. And as soon as you take your attention away from one area, all the other areas just go back to their automatic set points that's programmed into your unconscious mind and into your spirit. But if we remove those automatic programs, then you effortlessly start to attract and create and live the life that you actually want without having to constantly work so hard mentally and emotionally with your awareness and focus to not let those things come up and manifest in your way of whatever your dreams are. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you have a problem of not being very financially abundant. Very common in America. Robert Kiyosaki, the author of the most successful personal finance book of all time, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, says that at the age of 65, 95% of Americans will be either dead or dead broke. So basically, 19 out of 20 people don't have that much money. Let's say you're one of those people. And you focus really hard on one specific goal, like to make $20,000 in a great transaction. And it takes all of your mental power and strength to overcome all the negative emotions and fears and anger and things that are coming up. And you just keep pushing it aside and boom, you get that 20 grand. Good for you. But while that happened, you stopped going to the gym because you stopped paying attention to your health and your exercise. You stopped eating healthy. You totally forgot to pay attention to your family. And all the other areas of your life kind of fell apart because it took so much effort and mental focus to create that one goal. But if you were to go inside and actually remove the parts of you that were coming up, the fear, the anger, and the other negative emotions and thoughts that are in the way of you having lots of money, then it comes to you automatically and effortlessly without you having to focus so hard. Wouldn't that be nice? I know that sounds too good to be true for some people. It's not, because it does take a lot of hard work to go through all the layers of programming. And as you do, you'll see yourself continually evolve to make money doing things you love doing, make money doing things that really make the world a better place, making lots of money without having to work very hard and not having debt, and all these different arenas of money will start to wrap up well for you as you work at it. But if you practice spiritual bypass and never work at it, you'll always be stuck at the financial level that you're at in terms of your long-term, ongoing financial experience. The same thing is true in your love life. The same thing is true with your weight and your health. Every area of your life is mostly manifested unconsciously and accidentally, so to speak, by what's stuck in the unconscious mind. And so if you don't deal with that stuff, you'll be in a forever lifelong battle pretending things are fine while these negative things keep getting manifested. All the old patterns keep replaying. But if you stop spiritual bypassing because you finally have found a way to deal with the issues, and that's really the big key, then you can actually erase all that old stuff. And as you do, you'll see all the areas of your life becoming what you dreamed that they could be, rather than living in a constant battle. And wouldn't that be beautiful? And that's what my students do. That's what we do. We work hard on the unconscious, we work hard on the programming, and as the layers fall down and we remove them permanently, we see life become more and more easy in every area. Life becomes more and more effortlessly programmed to be the way you want, whereas right now it's effortlessly programmed to be, in some areas, exactly what you don't want. And that's why people watch videos like this and read books and take courses, because they're trying to find the answers to why they keep replaying the same patterns and why they're stuck in certain areas. And it's very rare that you're going to ever find anyone who will tell you what I'm just telling you right now. The problem is in the unconscious mind, and in order for you to make a real permanent change, you've got to remove that unconscious programming. Now, even if you find someone who tells you that, which you do find, almost never do they have a way for you to get rid of the old unconscious programming permanently. The fact that I say that I've invented a way that is permanent often causes people to be doubtful or say that that can't be true because I've spent $100,000 and taken every course and I have this many degrees and there is no way. How can you have a way? Well, how could I not have a way? Someone's going to have a way eventually. It's called evolution. I happen to be the first guy to figure it out, so what? The fact is, if you're watching my video, you might be ready to learn how to get rid of your programming and stop spiritual bypassing and start actually making a change. And I want to tell you a story about a really successful woman that practiced spiritual bypass so you could understand exactly what I'm talking about and how learning how to go inside and stop bypassing but actually addressing the issues would be the way to go. So this woman is a successful owner of a wellness center. And she said she wanted to take my 3-day weekend, the 7 Steps to Reprogramming Yourself, to learn how to erase programming for her clients, but she didn't have anything of her own to erase. And I said, are you sure about that? And she said, yeah, I'm happy all the time. And I said, okay. Now listen really carefully, because this is something you might want to ask your friends, your colleagues, and if you're a coach, your clients. What is the number one goal you have in life? And she said, to expand my business. I said, okay, great. Now here's the magic question. It's magic question number 2 of my 5 magic questions. How does it make you feel that you haven't expanded your business yet? Basically, you haven't achieved the goal yet. And she said, well, I feel fine because I know that it's going to happen eventually. But I do feel a little bit overwhelmed sometimes because there just isn't enough time to do everything. And I said, okay, where do you feel that overwhelm in your body? She said, I feel it in my tummy. Okay, and if that feeling were closer to anger, fear, or sadness, which one would it be closer to? She said, actually, it feels like anxiety. I said, okay, that anxiety in your tummy, that's old programming in your unconscious mind. That's causing you to have the experience that there isn't enough time and that you're overwhelmed that there isn't enough time. There actually is plenty of time. You just aren't having that experience for yourself. Oh, I thought being overwhelmed was a result of my circumstances. No. Many times being overwhelmed has nothing to do with circumstances. It's the feeling of being overwhelmed that's causing the circumstances in the first place. So she came to this seminar and she actually created a whole bunch of things. It turned out that she and her husband had sold their house and were looking for a place to rent, and found the perfect place and had submitted the application, and the agent said they were going to get the place amongst the other many applicants who wanted it, but the agent never sent the lease over, and they were freaking out. Oh, something else to clear. So during the course, she erased her anxiety about not getting the place, and the very next morning she saw in her email the lease from the agent. Also during the 3-day weekend, she erased the anxiety in her tummy, causing her to feel overwhelmed and that there isn't enough time in her business. So she wrote me an email and she said, Arnoux, when I went to the office on Monday after the course and sat down at my desk, it was the first time since I started my business that I didn't feel there wasn't enough time. I felt like I had plenty of time. And suddenly a couple of opportunities that may have been there for months that I just never paid attention to became something I wanted to check out. And within 1 week of implementing these new opportunities, our company went from being in the red to being in the black, and they actually opened a new location within months. Can you believe that? And so pretending that she was happy all the time was a really positive strategy because it got her through life to where she was able to be successful. But when she learned how to permanently erase the negative programming, she was able to make rapid changes in her reality, getting the house she wanted, expanding her business very, very quickly, basically overnight, by addressing the inner issues that previously were just pushed aside, which is a survival mechanism that we have to sort of transform into a new strategy of, hey, what is there for me inside that I can reprogram or erase in order to expand my life into what I always dream it to be? And so as the rains of heaven follow me, I'm going to end this episode by saying that there's a lot more to talk about with spiritual bypass, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Make sure you subscribe.